If you have egg-laying hens, chances are this time of year in the summer, you're like me and you're having a difficult time keeping up with eating all of your eggs. That said, after you've eaten all those eggs, you end up with a lot of eggshells. So when you have egg-laying chickens, they require a lot of calcium because obviously the outside of an egg, the shell, is almost pure calcium. And so they need to be eating a lot of it to supplement so they can continue laying. Well, instead of going out and buying all of those calcium supplements, there's a way that you can just reuse the eggshells that would otherwise be either tossed in the trash or in your compost. And I will show you how. In my kitchen, right next to my little indoor compost container, I also keep a container of eggshells. So I just keep this glass dish here, and whenever it gets filled enough, then I pop it in the oven to toast up the eggs, just to make sure that all the shells themselves are dry. After baking them for a little while, they start to get sort of brownish color around the edges, and you can tell that they've crisped up. I'm really not too precious about like what time or how long I put them in for. Sometimes if I'm using the oven and I'm baking something else, I'll put a dish of eggshells in with whatever I'm baking and just let the eggshells hang out in the oven for a little while until they look crispy. So I'm time-wise, I don't know, I would say anywhere from 200 to 400 degrees I've tossed mine in, really just to make sure that they dry out. Because if they're not dry, then this next step is going to be pretty tricky. So the reason that it's important for the eggshells to be completely dried out is because I put them all in a food processor like this. So when I'm dumping them in, I usually just get a couple shells in my hand, give them a one-time crunch, and then toss it in. The only reason I smush them a little bit before putting them in the processor is because I can fit more eggshells in. If I didn't crush them at all before putting them in, then I couldn't fit very many shells. And I know all these are dry because they're all just falling apart in my hand. You can really tell if there's still some moisture in them because they won't fall apart. They will feel sticky in your hand when you're crushing them. Okay, and you can see how quick that was. Container's empty. And that's all it takes. The consistency you're going for, you want to make it small enough so that it doesn't look like it's, still an egg, but you want to leave the pieces big enough so that a chicken could actually pick it up with its beak. Because if you make it a dust, then it's hard for them to eat. So this is the size that I leave mine at. And so you can see it's pretty small. You also don't want it to be so big that they identify that they're eating their own eggshells, because then that can lead to other problems like having an egg eater chicken. Once you have your eggshells down to this size, the chickens don't realize that they're eating their own eggs. But it's almost pure calcium, which is actually part of what they need in their diet. So your choices are you can buy it, or you can figure out how to reuse your own shells. And obviously the chickens don't even realize what they're eating. They think it's a treat. Here, girls. Here. And there you go. If you're interested in reading a little bit more about this, I also have a blog post, so check in the description below. Thank you for watching.